It's time to take a TO with Coaches Turner and O'Neill. Produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy.
It's time to take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Your new favorite podcast features conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro sports, along with other riveting content. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, or visit www.turnerando'neill.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms. We also invite you into the studio each week via YouTube. Subscribe and watch each episode on our YouTube channel at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Thanks to our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Coach Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by me, DJ Krissy. Now we welcome you to today's episode as we take a TO with Coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I am Kurtis Cross, your host, and with me as always is Coach Steve Turner and Coach Casey O'Neill. Our engineer is DJ Krissy, and together we welcome you into the studio for this week's episode. Today is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we know that our nation was and still is made better by Dr. King's practices, his example, and the road he traveled, along with so many more. Our premier partner for Season 2 is Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Ray is a friend of the program, and he is the only mortgage lender we endorse right here at Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Ray Cruz is Mortgage Intelligently. We'd like to thank our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and the Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. This week, we travel to the Sidwell Friends School, where Coach Eric Singletary has been the head basketball coach of the men's program since 2008. But first, fellas, how are we doing this week? I'll start with you, Coach O'Neill.
Doing well. Great tribute to Dr. King. Thank you for sharing that, and it's great to be with my TO family today. This weekend, football, a lot of football. It was great. Second weekend of some heavy games there, a lot of family. But I told you before we started recording, Coach Nick Heyman from Winsight Media is one of our sponsors.
Yes, he is.
He came through with some cigars. Now, I'm not a big cigar guy. I know you are, Kurtis.
Correct.
And I was giddy to come and tell you that he had shared this weekend a couple really nice cigars. So,
well, I can endorse the Monte Cristo number 2, and I think did you have that one or a different one?
It's hard to say. I had a Bolivar Robusto, I think.
Okay.
It's a very fine Cuban cigar. So thank you to Coach Heyman, one of my longtime assistant coaches, and just a great dad and man. So thank you, Coach.
So we will endorse the Monte Cristo number 2.
I think I had, I think it was that.
You think it was that?
That's your favorite one, right?
That is my favorite. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah. I got to get the clothes smelled a little like a cigar.
Oh, they're going to smell heavy. Yeah.
Put a little extra detergent in there in the wash machine. But I had a good weekend, all things considered, and, ready to rock and roll, folks.
Coach Turner, talk to us about your weekend, sir.
Sports heavy.
Of course.
Lot of good football.
What sport is not happening right now that makes you happy, right?
We're sport heavy with great playoffs in the NFL. NBA action.
Mm-hmm. And drama.
and drama, and a lot of drama.
We're going to get to that, right?
Yes.
We're going to get to that.
And then, again, get to see former players of mine shoot it up this weekend. It was good. A lot of those guys got to play this weekend, and some had some great success. Some had some tough ones.
Yeah.
But then high school basketball, ESPN and over at the St. James, some of the best high schools in the nation are playing, and a couple of guys locally here.
I can think of one that isn't playing.
Getting to
It
see.
should be.
And other than just feeling sorry for myself and my players that we would have been playing in that event as well. Actually, we would have been in Springfield this weekend if there was no COVID. But if we had gotten to be able to start, we did have a seat at the table to play this weekend, and unfortunately, we weren't given that opportunity.
Well, for me, my weekend was just what it is, but the Bills made me want to shout. The Bills definitely made me want to shout this weekend. We're going to get to that, right?
We'll get to it.
DJ Krissy, how was your weekend, young lady?
It was a fun and fabulous weekend.
Is it ever not?
Yeah. Well, sometimes cleaning, not so fun.
Right.
But I went to a friend's house and watched the Bills game.
Yes,
So,
you did.
Good times.
All right. And the Bills made us want to shout. So we've got lots going on. From the NFL to the NBA, and the NHL is back. So let's hit our first break, and we will be back with this week's headline. At Peace Players, we use the power of sport to unite, educate, and inspire young people to create a more peaceful world. We offer sport programming, peace education, and leadership development to those living in communities in conflict. We challenge the hate that is driven by the fear of our differences. We bridge divides between people through the game of basketball, and we develop young leaders who help to change perceptions. Find out more at www.peaceplayers.org.
Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neill, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerando'neill.com. One Headline is brought to you by
Healthy Baller is dedicated to developing athletes at any level through customized programs created by their world-class trainers. Healthy Baller creates an unparalleled training experience centered around the athlete and coach relationship. Between their physical therapy team and strength and conditioning staff, they create an all-encompassing process to help injured athletes return to the field. For the young athlete, Healthy Baller is an excellent training and confidence builder. Paula and I personally know this as our children attend Healthy Baller twice each week. With Blair and Molly training our 12 and 10-year-olds, we can personally vouch for their expert training and dedication to each athlete. Call 844-622-5537 or visit healthyballer.com and tell them Kurtis and Paula sent you.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill. Today's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. This week's headline, let's revisit last week's episode, Capital Chaos. Coach Turner.
I don't want to revisit that, but I think I'm in a better place today. With one, it being MLK Day, and two, only a couple days from taking 45's butt up out the White House. So I think seeing having a week that I feel will create some positivity has allowed me to not stress so much over what did happen. I'm still furious to a certain degree. I still not understanding, and it probably makes it worse watching these shows to find out how much more you're realizing now. This was planned, like, and the things that you're seeing now and in video and hearing from people. I mean, we got some of them calling in on their own families,
Right.
like turning them into the FBI right now. So, It's not an easy world we're living in right now. A lot of things are tough, but I think we have to, as a nation, just continue striving for becoming together and being one. We're gonna agree to disagree on a lot of different things today, but I think we have to find a way to all be able to live as one in this nation that's supposed to be the best in the world.
Coach Casey O'Neill.
So on Friday, this past Friday, I was driving into school, going to work like I normally do, and I was stopped one block, not even a block, across the street from the school that I work at. And a young, God bless him, guard, National Guard, carrying a large rifle, checked my ID, said, "Where are you going?" And that's, from what happened 2 weeks ago, that's the world I'm in, right? That's the world that and I'm sitting there, and it was strange. It was odd that I had to do that and then go in. And, I think about a lot of things you said, Kurtis, about how our city, our home, and I told this to our kids in our Zoom meeting last week, that's 5 blocks from where you guys go to school, the place you love, and it was violated and it was trashed. So you see how much it really affects everybody. And I was proud of last week's episode. I'm looking forward to continued conversation with our young folks. I'm looking forward to stronger prayer for me, more focus I wrote some things down here, empathy, hard work, just showing up and working hard, whether it's coaching, whether it's an AD, whether it's being a dad, whether it's being a friend, and just got to believe in love and peace. And just continuing to remind those young people, especially my daughters and my son and the kids I coach, on finding their mission and standing up for the right things. And I'm proud of last week's episode for sure. It is uncomfortable, and that's a common word when we have those conversations. And you even see it in our own neighborhood, the arguments on the email listserv from folks in where we live who are upset about cops that might live in the neighborhood, and then other folks that are upset with people that are doing things at the corner at Four Corners, and it's just everybody's on such tense high alert, and it's a lot of it has to do with that president who's leaving. A lot of it has to do with folks being insecure, and I don't think focusing and I hope focusing on what the mission is, and I've been very adamant about this, and it's got to be to teach our young people. And I told the kids in the Zoom meeting, I know you want to chime in, it's got to be working with the young people to have empathy to what everybody says, but knowing what the right thing is and standing up. So, Steve, I think you want to say something.
I was just going to say, I agree with you, and the mission has to be moving forward. But I just hope that people don't forget. We have to move forward, but let's not forget, and let's not be scared to continue to have conversation.
It has to.
We have to do it. We have to keep having the conversation. It cannot just get thrown up on the shelf because, inauguration comes in this week, and now we've got to change in the White House. But that's not going to be the full change that we need going forward. So I hope and pray that if you're listening, let's keep having tough conversations. Let's sit down with each other, try to get to know each other better, try to figure out how we can all coexist.
I continue to be amazed and pleased by our young people. Gentlemen, we are in our 40s, but that doesn't mean we can't learn from young people. These young people have something to say. The rhetoric seems to be, these young folks don't know nothing. They're into hip-hop music or whatever they're into and blah, blah, blah. These young people have a torch to carry, and I am very pleased to see many of them carrying that torch. I'm not pleased with anyone I see, young people, Black Lives Matter, Proud Boys, or anyone who's doing whatever they do in the wrong way. Let's make sure we understand that. We don't endorse anyone, marching to their own drum in the wrong way. But I am pleased to see these young people who do have something to say, who want to positively affect change. I'm I'm very proud of last week's episode. I think you two gentlemen are more of a public figure than I, so I thank you for coming to the table with your thoughts, which might not be concurrent with, some circles that we all travel in, but they're your thoughts, and you were not afraid to bring them to this table, to episode 2, season 2, in that conversation. We thank those of you who listened, watched, and chimed in on last week's very important episode. It meant a lot to us to see and hear your comments. And I'll tell you, gentlemen, I shared some comments with you. I heard more positive comments about last week than any other episode we had.
Likewise.
I've had friends tell me they had conversations with their kids that they thanked me for inspiring them to have. I've heard friends tell me, Kurtis, I've never heard you guys talk like that before. And they were okay with it. Whatever your thoughts may be regarding the disposition of our country and its democracy, I believe we can all agree these times have revealed that we simply are not there yet. My last thought on that is we know, no matter what side you are on, we are only better when we work with and for each other towards a common goal. That is your one headline. Next Level Lacrosse. Train like a Spartan. Next Level Lacrosse is dedicated to providing a terrific lacrosse experience that is intensely focused on player development and character formation. Players at all levels will improve significantly through professional coaching and carefully designed training programs. We stress proper technique and a tireless work ethic, from beginning programs to rec leagues, travel clubs to summer programs. We develop the young and experienced players alike. Next Level Lacrosse has a rich tradition of running the best middle and high school lacrosse leagues in the DMV area. You will find us at www.nextlevelspartans.com or call 240-497-1460.
We invite your questions, comments, and show ideas. Simply go to www.turneroneillpodcast.com and click Submit Your Idea.
The Starting Five is brought to you by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual home buyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill. The Starting Five. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I'm your host, Kurtis Cross, and I'm with Coach Steve Turner, Coach Casey O'Neill, and of course, our engineer is DJ Krissy. We are up to our weekly Starting Five. 5 questions asked of each coach. They've never heard these questions, and they each have 30 seconds to answer each question. Krissy, if they go over their 30 seconds, what will happen? Today's Starting Five is brought to you by Paula. She wrote them all. I was on a compressed time frame. You guys know I had something to do earlier today. Paula wrote the Starting Five. What do you got? You want to talk?
She better bring it.
I was just going to say that ding is so 2020 for me.
Wow. So you just go
I ain't getting dinged in 2021. Let's go.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, you better go to him first.
We amped up in this studio today. All right. Dr. King brings out the best in everybody. All right. We're going to go Casey O'Neill first. Could the best college basketball team you've ever seen beat the worst NBA team you've ever seen?
Yes. Yes, I absolutely believe so. And the first college basketball team that comes to mind is those early 90s UNLV.
Those running rebels?
That's what I was going with, Coach.
The running rebels?
I was going with, yes, sir.
They could take
LJ and that crew could beat some NBA teams. Maybe not even just the worst teams.
Some of them
Here's
dudes
the question.
Bama soft teams in the NBA.
Here's my question.
Absolutely.
How many towels did Tarkanian bite through?
Plenty.
Because he was all on those towels.
Plenty.
So I think you agree.
Pretty easy, yes. That definitely can happen. And that was the team I was going with right off the
The
break.
Running
It
Rebels.
just boop popped in my head.
Were they the 40 minutes of
Or
hell?
my second team, High Five Slammer Jammer.
Oh, with Drexler
Houston?
and them?
Was that Houston?
Yeah.
Drexler, Elijah
University of
Wan.
Houston?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes. There's a case for the Fab Five at times. That
Yes,
could have done,
I
they
would
could have
agree.
done some things. I don't think any of
They
those
were
Duke,
young, though,
Duke
but
teams could.
those other two teams, they had some grown men.
Right.
And that's why I would go with those
You mean
two
Grandmama?
first. Oh, Grandmama.
Grandmama?
Grandmama.
That's a good question.
Here's a question.
And Mr. Augman.
Were they 40 minutes of hell or was that someone else?
No, that's Arkansas.
That was Nolan Richardson.
Yes.
That's Arkansas.
Okay,
Another
40 minutes
great
of
team
hell.
right there.
All right. Y'all just cleaned right through that one.
Yeah.
That's the first time y'all answered together in like immediate, right?
That was on point.
All right, Coach Turner. So Paul is 1 for 1 so far.
1 for 1.
Job, Paul.
All right. Coach Turner, would you rather travel back in time to meet your ancestors or into the future to meet your descendants? I think she's 2 for 2 on this one.
I think I got to go back in time to meet my ancestors.
Okay.
I'm going to go back in time.
All right. Coach O'Neill.
I'm with Coach Turner on that, and we have a hodgepodge of people from Canada, Ireland, England.
You want to know those
Italy.
stories?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
now, I don't want to stay for too long because you go back there in the early 1900s. And,
You might find something you don't want to see.
Where's the Wi-Fi? There ain't no Wi-Fi back there.
All right.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So we're going question number 3. To you, Coach O'Neill. Should professional hockey and or soccer come down to penalty shots / kicks, or would you rather see a tie game end in overtime, sudden death, or play it out?
So hockey currently has that model.
Right.
They go 3-on-3 for 5 minutes in the playoff format. Not playoff, excuse me.
Overtime, right.
And then they do the shootout. Soccer,
So
just,
she's saying
it takes too long. So she said just right away, do it.
Just, eliminate the penalty shots and just, for example, if we go, I don't know if they go 3-on-3, and if that doesn't work, keep going 3-on-3. Just eliminate those penalty shots or kicks.
Well, I believe in the playoffs for hocky, they eliminate that. You just say for straight 5-on-5.
So you're playing 8 periods, you're playing 8 periods.
Some of these playoff hockey games can go 4 or 5 overtimes, and they're there to the middle of the night. Don't you dare get close to that thing over there. But soccer
You're
won't.
the engineer.
Soccer won't. If you're in the World Cup and you're in the championship, it'll go down to those 2 overtimes and a 2020 ding.
She didn't ding you, so you have not gotten dinged by Krissy.
Last statement. I don't believe that shootouts should determine a game. That's a tough way to lose.
Coach Turner.
I'm against you on this one, Coach.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you like it?
Man, I'm a soccer player.
It's exciting.
So to me, like, you go through 2 halves, couple of overtimes.
Got to end it.
Like, it has to end some way. And to me,
Okay,
it's epic. And the reason for soccer, a little different for hockey, but for me, for soccer, is because there are certain skills in the game that penalty kick
Sure.
allows for some guys to shine, and sometimes some guys who don't shine in normal ways to shine.
Right.
But my counter
love it.
is if you stand over where the penalty kick is in soccer, it's close. It's really close.
Yeah, it
what
is.
about moving it back a little bit? Get that goalie, because the goalie are going on reaction.
They've changed.
reading
No,
hips.
the goalies can now bounce around and move. Before you couldn't move an inch until the ball was touched.
Right.
They changed that and
I think
allowed
they should
and
move it
allowed
back.
for.
That's a good point.
I've been in some epic battles, so to see a team go down and win championships that way is pretty cool.
All right. Number 4, coming back to Coach Turner. Favorite TV show, past or present?
Oh wow! Here you go.
I'll tell you, mine is Cheers. With Ted Danson.
Yeah.
Cheers is a good show.
That was my favorite. My second would be Law & Order, SVU, or Criminal Intent. One of those 2.
They took mine off the air. You brought me back when you said the last one. Mm-hmm. And my ultra ego is Jack Bauer. 24.
24.
I need 24 back. I need.
Never saw it, but
I
okay.
need 24 back.
I've mentioned this before in the episode. When I was a kid, it was a show called Buck Rogers, and that's how I could.
We talked about that.
We talked about
21st
that.
century.
You know, when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch Three's Company because it was too.
It's racy. A little advanced, right?
I'll go with today. I've gotten sucked into Cobra Kai. I can't believe I'm watching that show.
You
right
mentioned
now.
that before.
Yeah, to the folks out there, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Cobra Kai.
What is it, Netflix, Amazon? What is it on?
Netflix.
All right, go get your Netflix with this guy and Cobra Kai. Last question. Coming back to you. One rule you want to change in any sport. You can't move the penalty kickback.
Man, one rule in the sport.
In any sport. It could be hockey, it could be equestrian, whatever.
I'll go with lacrosse right now, and they have these crazy, wacky rules on a dive. A dive is when you come from outside the crease and you dive, and then they're trying to protect the goalie. But I don't believe that they've overthought it. So right now they need to go back to the drawing board and recreate how the NCAA rules on the lacrosse dive are, because it's either a good goal or it's not. It's a very subjective official opinion, even though they've drawn a line in there, but it needs to be reworked because they're not getting it right. And we've had some goals taken away in the last year that, the
You'd
refs,
like to see them get that right. All right, Coach Turner, one rule you would change in any sport.
NBA.
Okay, talk to me.
Traveling?
Start calling travels that are really travels. I'm tired of the
It was a nice dunk, so we gave it to him?
No, forget the dunks. Right now, everybody wants to shoot three-pointers, but now we can hop, step into a three, and that's a travel.
Is that like 3 hop steps?
Yeah, 3 hop steps.
Because in high school, they call it all the time. College, a little bit more, but NBA, it's not called.
NBA, you're professionals.
Right.
You should not have to travel to get shots off.
Right.
If you can't get your shot off with traveling, then get out of the game.
Go back to point guard college and learn how to get free, get an open shot. You know what I would change? When I coached high school and college women's basketball, I will tell you, on your side of things, Steve, they will let y'all tussle a hot minute before they call jump ball. As soon as 2 girls touch the ball at the same time, jump ball right away. And I'd like to see that change.
I would like to see them throw it up on every jump ball.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I want a little bit longer. I want like another second or 2 to see if my girl can rip it and
see if all
secure
that
it.
weight room time worked.
See if it
Let her
worked.
pull that thing out. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting 5. The starting 5. O'Neill Development is a custom builder in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Eastern Shore. Recognized nationally as a premier builder, O'Neill Development has received awards for historic restoration and urban infill work. Committed to best practices in green building, O'Neill Development also provides support in budgeting, architect selection, and design development during the critical stages of planning. O'Neill Development, building, remodeling, and development since 1975. Find us at www.o'neilldev.com or call 301-840-9310.
Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill can be found on more than 15 podcast platforms. Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word. Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill records weekly with episode drops each Thursday at 11 a.m.
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Current social distancing does not allow for event gatherings in the traditional sense. When it's time to plan your bar or bat mitzvah, office party, Sweet 16, or any event, we've got your party solution. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event experts. Our virtual events division has perfected an entertainment experience like none other. We bring the celebration to you. Contact us for virtual trivia, office parties, nightclub nights, or any virtual event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event solution. Visit www.mapdja.com or call 301-942-4500.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest leads the Sidwell Friends men's basketball program right here in Washington, D.C. A former player at Sidwell, Eric Singletary, took over his alma mater's program in 2008. After playing at Sidwell, Coach Singletary went on to play at Rice University and then professionally in Portugal, Germany, and here in the U.S. in the International Basketball League. As Sidwell's head coach, he has grown the program with several MAC championships or co-championships to the program's credit. Here to take it to you with us today, please welcome Sidwell Friends men's basketball coach, Mr. Mike Singletary. Eric Singletary. I'm thinking linebacker. I'm sorry, Eric. Coach, thanks for joining us today. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. No worries. I get that a lot.
No, here's the
Look, the dude is built like he could be a safety now.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that.
Here's the problem. As I'm writing this script today, I'm writing it Eric every single time. And I'm like, do not say Mike. Do not say Mike. Look, it's Eric right here, but I still said Mike. So, Coach, I'm in your doghouse. You know these guys. You don't know me, so I'm automatically in the doghouse. I'm sorry, Coach Eric Singletary.
I'll forgive you, man. I got you, man.
All right. And I believe you know these gentlemen with me here in the studio. Coaches, please welcome Coach Singletary.
Appreciate you, brother. Blessed to have you on today.
Hey, man.
Excited to have a good conversation with you.
Yeah, so thrilled to be on with these guys, man. It took me under their wing a long time ago down at I Street, man, and we've maintained a strong friendship all these years, so I'm excited to join you guys.
Eric, Casey here. How you doing, my friend?
So what's up, Coach?
How you been, man? It's been a while. I can't wait to things to get normal and we can hang out and watch you guys play basketball and just catch up, my friend.
Yeah, I miss seeing you, man. Definitely catching up with you, and I look forward to that as well. I've been pretty good, hanging in there, man, just trying to keep my sanity and stay active and, stay safe. Same things everybody else is doing.
All right, well, we're going to jump right into the conversation with that. I know that what your program is currently experiencing is, unfortunately, what the vast majority of high schools, public and private, are going through in Washington, D.C. So I know that's a challenge to keep your young men engaged. So how are you keeping your program relevant and ready as we are now in your traditional season?
Man, it's been hard, but I've definitely been just doing a lot of technology things, with Zoom early in the year when we first started going through the pandemic. So utilizing that space, with the guys, making sure we're just keeping in touch with each other, checking on each other, and then obviously using it to look at some film and to look at some other things to keep the guys engaged and, just doing as much as we can. Certainly we've been in school in a hybrid capacity as well as a virtual capacity. So we've been able to get a few workouts in, with the guidelines that under the District of Columbia, but just doing as much as we can.
Well, thank you for doing that, and thank you for your part. Coach Casey, what you got?
Eric, I want to ask you a little bit. I always like to ask other coaches and respected coaches like you, are there core principles that you kind of live by or that you teach your players? So each season, if obviously the roster changes and you get, different kids, but is there that statement that you guys play by or something you're trying to teach consistently every year?
Yeah, we try to, every program worth its salt. I mean, this, you can't be a championship program like yourself and like Steve without having certain mantras that you try to live by to develop that culture. So, we believe in toughness, we believe in intelligence, and we believe in attitude. We believe the attitude is the thing you can control no matter what happens during your day. You just can't compete at a high level without having a certain amount of toughness. And then we also want to coach kids that are really bright and, introspective about, what they're doing, why they're doing it. So we just kind of believe in those three core principles that kind of guide us, on and off the court.
Awesome.
Eric, it's something I've actually never asked you, and I'm curious to the answer. You've actually, at different levels, been coached by some unbelievable coaches who are from the DMV.
Yeah.
From the DMV.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of the things that maybe you took from them coaching you that you've brought to your current players today.
Yeah, goodness gracious, Steve. The great Dickie Wells, back at Kelly Miller Junior High School, American University legend. Rest in peace, Coach Wells just taught me at a young age, man. Like I had to, I've never had to work that hard to make a team. So trying to make that team in your high school showed me that toughness that I'm talking about. I don't think we touched the basketball for the first 2 weeks. So that was a different kind of tryout. And then when I got to high school, I had the privilege of playing for the legendary George Leftwich, another, legend, and Carroll alum and Villanova legend, and one of the best players that ever come out of DC. Just taught me a lot about accountability, about being the best player on the team, and what that meant, and how you had to carry yourself, and what was expected of you. And then I went on to college and played for Willis Wilson, your fellow alum out of Blair High School, baby. Which is really taught me about class and like details, and being precise and organized. Just an unbelievable man who I really got close to, and just still continues to mentor me to this day. So yeah, I've been the beneficiary of some amazing coaching throughout my life, and so I try to combine what they taught me and a few things and how I wish I was coached, and I think that's kind of been my formula for coaching.
So, Coach, with Sidwell being your alma mater and the experience you have having been there over the past 13 seasons, besides the obvious, what fires you up when you lead the program? I know when you get some guys out there they're all lathered up in the gym and they're ready to go and they're scrimmaging hard and all that, that gets you going, I'm sure. And when a kid gets a great steal and a dunk, that gets you fired up. But why? Every day when you get up to make your practice plan, why? What is firing you up? What is inspiring you to do so?
Oh man, that's a great question. Like, because I talk to the kids every day about having why has to be important in anything you do in life. Mine is like, honesty is what you just said. Like, by being my alma mater, there's a sense of nostalgia every day that I come to work, where I realize that, I walk these same hallways and have some of these same teachers, and just the whole fabric of Sidwell fires me up every day. And because I remember when I was at Sidwell, we were decent, we're pretty good, probably didn't play to our potential. And so I've always, after I came under Steve's wing and saw how he did things at Gonzaga, I just always wanted Sidwell to be super relevant. Had no idea that we'd be this good. But that fires me up every day to make sure that we stay in the pantheon of like these great programs, and that, we don't essentially lose to anybody's jersey because, we're not your grandfather Sidwell. So it fires me up to be competitive like every day, and know that, even today, we've earned it, but maybe still there's some people out there that don't think that Sidwell, can play basketball. So that's what keeps me motivated.
Well, let me tell you something. I think what you said is exactly correct. So my kids are in separate private schools out here in Montgomery County. We looked at Sidwell, but I just didn't want to take that commute into D.C. every day. But I will tell you this. I was talking to a fellow parent, and I think I was talking to him about Steve's team. I said, my buddy coaches in D.C., and his team is going to be in the title game, whatever. And I promise you, the mother said, are you talking about Sidwell? Because they got some players down there, and I had never really connected Sidwell to basketball, and that was probably 2 years ago. And now I know I'm talking to the guy who built what she's talking about. She was very impressed. Her son is the one who's at IMG, Steve, playing football that you coached on your AAU basketball, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Say his name.
I remember. Oh my God!
It's Kamora's brother.
Yeah, I can't. It escaped me.
It's escaping me right now.
Punchy
too.
Or what's the kid? I'm gonna get his name via text, but you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. His mom, Kamora's mom.
Yeah, I know exactly.
He's down there playing at IMG football, but she mentioned Sidwell as a program to be reckoned with. So please take that pat on the back from a guy you don't even know.
Eric,
yeah, no, I really appreciate that. That means a lot.
Eric, Coach O'Neill here again. Again, appreciate you being on the podcast with us. And what you were just saying about being at your alma mater, I'm in a very similar situation, right? Just working there every day, being in the halls, and it's just a special feeling to be able to give back to your school. But during this whole pandemic in the last, it's almost been a year now, where we're not with the kids like we're used to being, okay? And with everything going on, whether it's social injustice, crazy politics, a lot of things. How have you handled having those real conversations with the kids? And it could be one of those normal conversations we have after practice, right? Where a kid comes up, he's got an issue with school or something going on. But with everything going on, how have you and the staff been able to kind of stay in touch with the kids? And, granted, workouts that are COVID safe and things, but how have you been able to sort of mentor the kids this last, 9 to 10 months?
Yeah, man, great question, Case. I've been blessed to have really thoughtful kids who consider themselves at the forefront, of social justice and current events. And we kind of have our team broken down like a football team, where each coach is responsible for three or four players. So, we'll meet as a whole team, but also those coaches will connect with those group teams, those small pods, like in their own groups. And so we just really, we put it all on the line. Like, we just talk about it because, it's the future that they're about to inherit. And this is their time in the history books. Like, none of us thought we would see certain things that we read about. So you can't escape it. It's definitely, a stain and, it's tragic events and things that make you shake your head, but we confront it, straight on, because I think that at the end of the day, there's tremendous growth that can come from that kind of confrontation on those kind of issues.
Outstanding.
I'm gonna stay in that realm a little bit. You and I and a group, and I've talked about it here on the podcast with these guys here, but our over the pandemic conversations as men of others is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your feelings on what happened just a couple weeks ago. Our capital.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was breathtaking, Steve. As a person who studied political science as a major, international relations, I've worked on campaigns and different things like that. So I have a wealth of knowledge on kind of how our Constitution and political system works. And certainly being an African-American man in the United States of America, you're not under any illusion that things are, equal and, but you live a privileged life. I went to Sidwell, like you said, even though I grew up in Southeast Washington. So I've seen life in a very trajectory way where, I grew up in poverty, but then I went to Sidwell and went to Rice and kind of, haven't looked back, so to speak, even though I always go back to my old neighborhood. So for me, Steve, it was just almost, it was surreal because out of all the things that happened in our society that we have to deal with, you never think that something like that would happen on this soil when you see so many of these things happen on foreign soil. And so it's just I don't know if it was a wake-up call. Like, I want to say one of the pundits said something that really struck me and said, I don't know if this is it's a reckoning, and I'm just not sure if this is the beginning of something or is it the end of something. And I hope that's the end of something. But yeah, it was surreal, to say the least.
Thanks, E.
So when you look at the D.C. area, from O'Connell to Gonzaga, St. John's to PVI, where do you find your success in terms of getting not only the right athlete, but equally or more important, the right student to maintain the goals that you set for the Quaker program? So how do you find that athlete? Of course, you're going to find parents out there who are looking at private schools and they want the hot choice. Well, Gonzaga's good at basketball. DeMath is good at football. Gonzaga's good at lacrosse or Landon's good at hockey. Why should I come to Sidwell? What is that answer? And I know you probably build relationships, but tell us, how do you find yourself getting the quality student athlete into your halls?
So I just go wherever Steve goes, I follow him. So wherever Jim, wherever he goes, I just go, and whatever he doesn't want, I get the scraps off of
Come on now.
But you're better looking. You can get the players because you got a better smile.
Good looking dude. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
No, it's always gonna be my big bro. But it's unique. Like, honestly, I always compare us to like a boutique hotel, you know what I mean? Like, where it's a great place, but you still got to make your own bed. So just like Gonzaga, it's not for everybody. Like, there's the beauty and the curse of this area is that you have so many unbelievable schools to choose from that fit your needs, and the financial obligations to certain schools that make a difference. But for me, I've been blessed, man. Like, I just think I got a couple of people around here who really kind of speak to me and know the kind of families that I'm looking for. I always feel like I never really recruit kids. I recruit families. And so to me, I've been, most of the kids I've gotten have been like word of mouth, through other people. So I haven't had to do much recruiting, to be honest. Not that I'm not opposed to it, but I've definitely been lucky and blessed to kind of find these diamond in the rough kids who believe in my vision and who believe in Sidwell as an institution.
Hey, is my buddy Kevin Johnson still on the board down there? You know Kevin Johnson, don't you?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah. I grew up with that cat. I grew up with that cat for years. Yeah. We played soccer. Steve, I don't even know if you played. No, I played soccer. Him and I played MSI back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I saw him.
Yeah, that's a name.
Yeah, I saw him
kind of shorts
actually in hush your mouth, boy. Me and Kevin hung out back. I saw him a couple years ago at a party. Krissy was that party over at Cece's house, Cecilia's house. And I saw him over there, and I hadn't seen him in years. But he said he was down there at Sidwell, and that's when we were looking for our kids. But I'm glad you know KJ. Anyway, I'm sorry. Coach Casey, what you got?
No. Yeah. KJ's a good, was a good teammate. You know what I mean? Just so proud of all the things that he's accomplished. So shout out to Kevin Jones.
Did you play with him?
Yeah. Kevin and I played together for 2 years.
Oh, okay. All right. Coach O'Neil.
So, Eric, you talked about, you get the kids that you get, whether it's recruiting or the kids, and then you coach them up. And that's kind of the beauty of it, because I think you have kids that are in your program that love being in those halls every day. They love being a part of that school. And when you have kids that collectively love playing for you and playing for Sidwell, you're going to have success. So my question is,
right,
what outside of winning that championship, right, and winning as many games, what is that end game? Two parts here. The end of each season, what you're trying to get out of these young men collectively, and then after their 4 years. So you look at a parent and say, okay, your son's coming in as a freshman, but in 4 years, my hope is he's going to have X, Y, and Z character traits and being a young man.
Yeah, I would say I'll answer the latter first in this case. I hope that each person, no matter what they leave with, the one common thing I hope they all leave with is a sense of tough skin. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, whether that's you playing beyond high school, you're going to need that. And no matter what you do and any endeavor you do, you're going to need that. So one of the characteristics that I think they all share, and I hope they share, is a sense of like resiliency and having tough skin and having fun along the way. But like to answer your first question, at the end of each season, I always try to tell the guys that we should be crying. We should be crying because we won, or we should be crying because we lost. Because we worked that hard, we put that much work into it. It means that much to us. And so therefore we have a sense of appreciation no matter what happens. And that usually comes through that sense of emotion. So I try to put it out there that we're going to work really hard. We're going to, trust the process. That you hear all the same, all the good coaches going to say the same thing. So, these formulas are tenable. And I just want to make sure that after each year we can look each other in the mirror and know that we gave each other our best effort. And that's coaches on down to managers. You know what I mean? Like I demand that of everybody. So that's what I look for.
Great answer. Love it.
Eric, let's talk about your two pros, Josh Hart, Sadiq Bey. Both guys,
yes, sir.
Both guys who high school under the radar, certainly left their mark and made it be known who they were before they got out of your doors. Both went and played for maybe the best coach in basketball right now, Jay Wright, and both wound up and found their way into the league. Talk to the listeners, talk to the kids who are listening today, and the parents. Give me those traits that define both of those young men that you truly believe got them to where they are today.
Man, Steve, I think what they do share, a great question. And you're right, they have similar backgrounds in the sense that, Sadiq, did his first year at the Mather, came to Sidwell. We all know how that may feel when you feel like you failed or something like that. So, he came to us. He never lost his confidence. But, the thing I would say that both of them had was a sense of, they were both great teammates, first and foremost. But second of all, I think they really took to heart, especially Josh. I'll say Josh because he got his earlier than Sadiq. That sense of like what it meant to be the guy, which I talked to those guys about. Like I said, that certain level of responsibility, accountability. I mean, I had to suspend Josh, a couple of times, during his career. And it probably meant the world to him. How do you send the message to the other players?
Why didn't he get a suspension against me?
I know, right?
Why didn't he get his suspension against me?
He was behaving that week.
Look, and I don't mean to interrupt your answer, but now looking back, did you hold out on me, E? Come on,
yeah,
brother.
He did. He made sure Josh was eligible.
On me.
He was behaving that week, Steve. He knew he was coming down to the class. And he was on his best behavior.
He was quote unquote behaving that week.
I'm sorry, I had to interrupt on that, but finish your answer, please.
No. No question, Steve. No, but both of the guys were super tough, Steve. We talked about that earlier, Casey. They were super tough. They had the guts of a burglar. They could handle failure. And what they could handle was like tough coaching. They both took on all those characteristics, and I think they just they both Josh loved playing, and I don't think there's a better competitor than I've ever coached or I've ever actually been around than Josh Hart. And I would say Sadiq also loves playing, but Sadiq actually loves to prepare even more than Josh. Like, so Sadiq loves to be in the gym. You know, like I said, they both had a reason why. To your question earlier, like, what's your why? I think they both had the tenacity that it takes. And I think they both took on a sense of, like, what it meant to be the man at Sidwell, and they embraced that. So they weren't running from that, you know, what that may look like, even if it looked like we may be underdogs on a certain night. So just two tremendous players, two tremendous young men who ultimately, like you said, Steve, went on to play for Coach Wright, accomplished some of the same things, you know, the Julius Erving Award and all league and players of the year and all those things. But the thing I'm most proud of is that they both were all academic Big East, you know, for the time that they were at Villanova.
Good stuff. Good stuff. My last question. You know, you talked a little bit about it earlier, kind of your why, what makes you tick. Who is that coach that you go up against regularly that brings the best out of you?
Oh, my goodness. I don't get to play you enough, but you certainly do that. You always keep me on my toes. I mean, you do that from afar. Like, I don't even coach against you, and I'm always watching you, always coming to the game, picking your brain, watching your demeanor, you know, all the other stuff like that. But I would say the coach that I coach against that does that, probably a couple. I mean, obviously you got the Rico Reeves. I would say Levi Franklin, who was a mentor. I just look up to him in so many ways. And, like, man, he always seems to manage to get his team super prepared to play us. And it's always a really tough game when we play them, even if we're the favorites to win. So I would say Levi Franklin was that guy that really gets me over there and feeling really nervous.
It is interesting because people wouldn't know this. Like, I think to the naked eye, they see us in these gyms when we're going up against each other, and they just assume it's rivalry and you want to bash each other's heads in. But think of the guys you just named, all involved in our cohort that has spent time together through this pandemic, getting on Zoom calls for wee hours of the night, talking life, talking love, talking hoops, talking wives, talking girlfriends, talking kids, talking social injustice. And the common thread is that we're all mentors and want to be servants of others. And just because on a certain night we want to bash each other's heads in doesn't mean that we can't get in a room or on a call together to share and help each other out. And that's been a blessing, probably the best thing that's ever happened to me during this pandemic.
Sounds like a support system to be doing that.
Yeah, that support system. Coach, that's it. But we do have one more thing. We have something here on the podcast called the Starting Five. During this segment, I ask our coaches 5 questions that they've never seen or heard, and they get 30 seconds to answer each question. I'm only going to ask you one, so here goes. You get 30 seconds to answer this question. If you were to, Krissy, please let him know if he goes over 30, what's going to happen, Krissy? You get the ding. All right, so your 30 seconds begins after I ask this question. If you were to start a basketball team right now, assuming each player is in their prime, do you start with Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, or Larry Bird?
Oh, my goodness. Magic Johnson.
You start with Magic, huh?
Yeah.
Tell us why.
That's how much of a fan. That's just, I adore him. I think he's the most majestic player that ever played the game, and he's the best teammate that ever played. I think LeBron is similar to him in many ways, and I know that you can't go wrong with those unbelievable choices that you had. I just still think Magic Johnson is, maybe the greatest winner we've ever seen.
My man, and I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm okay with that.
You didn't realize Kurtis is such a huge Lakers fan.
He brown as chocolate, but he in here blushing hard.
Don't forget the Mike.
Blushing hard right now.
Don't forget that Mike Singletary comment about 20 minutes ago.
Eric Singletary. Well, look, Coach Singletary, this is something I say to you. We've never met. Now that I know you go to some of Steve's games, I'll make sure I introduce myself, or I might just come to one of your games just to check him out. My boy is not in high school yet, so I have time to watch some high school games. This is my
please do.
This is my thanks to you. I need to thank you for helping rear these young men. There's more to basketball than basketball. And as you and I know, you are not preparing them for the next game or the next season. You're preparing them for life. And it's clear that you are doing that well. So it's so important to us here at TNO that it's not just about the game. It's about preparing these young men. Because honestly, most of your guys aren't going to play NBA, right?
Nope.
And there's a life
Most
they have
of
to
them not
live.
going to play in college.
Right, so there you go.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to thank you for taking the TO with us today. Please tell our listeners how they can connect with Quakers basketball on social media, your website. How can they find you?
I'm on Twitter at SFS5Coach, SFS Coach 5, I'm sorry. And my IG handle is just Eric Singletary. You can find me on there. Like, I'm pretty easy to find, public access, and go Quakers.
All right, Coach, thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Eric Singletary.
Thanks, Eric.
E, love you, bro. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
guys. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Good,
sir.
man. Be good.
All right. All right, that was Coach Eric Singletary. Krissy, let's go ahead and go to break, and we'll chop it up right after this.
A Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audiovisual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your lifestyle seamlessly. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. We'd like to thank our partners, sponsors, and donors. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, and Body and Beyond Wellness.
Body and Beyond Wellness is acupuncture and wellness consulting. Our peaceful oasis is nestled just outside the Washington, D.C. Beltway. Our acupuncture treatments, workshops, and other wellness offerings will have you feeling restored, renewed, and revived. A limited appointment schedule is now available, but you must call in advance to schedule. Call 301-758-7980 or visit www.thebodyandbeyond.com for more info.
Kurt Cross here, producer of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. You know, there are few relationships more solid than the bond between a man and his barber. For years, I've gotten my cut with Gene the Barber. Located in downtown Silver Spring, Gene has been cutting my hair for more than 20 years. Now, if you have a barber you're happy with, I understand. But if you're new to the area or looking for that perfect cut, my man Gene will tighten you up. Call him directly at 240-687-7253 and make an appointment. Gene the Barber, 240-687-7253.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Gentlemen, this is going to sound like a broken record. Thanks to everyone for listening each week, tuning in on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, wherever you find us. We're on YouTube, and we love the fact that thousands of you watch each week. We enjoy meeting you here, but this is going to sound like a broken record, guys. Every coach, we bring in a lot of guests, virtually, because we have no one in the studio except the wives that time and then the sons. But all these coaches are here for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. That's the common theme is, if I had to pick, if someone said on the spot right now, what is the common theme among the coaches you have? I would say at least two things. They're here for the right reasons, and they're here to build these student athletes to be great people, not just great at lacrosse or hockey or baseball or basketball or, football. They're here, they're passionate about doing it for the right reasons. Like I think back to the Mike Jones interview, and that guy has a fire in him that he doesn't care if you missed a free throw. Are you in class every day? Are you growing up to be the right kind of young man that's a DeMatha Stagg? And what do you guys think? He's here for the right reasons, no doubt, huh?
For me, it's always been, Eric coached with us down at I Street, and we've become really, really good friends. But when I talk to him and I just watch him working with his young men, it's his passion for me. It's his passion for not just the game. It's his passion for people. He is very caring. He is very giving. He gives a lot of himself for others, and I think it's why you continue to see great things happening to him and happening to his program, because he's not a guy who's doing it for him. He's doing it for those that are around him.
And the thing is, though, you have to take that passion and channel it the right way. 2-3 weeks ago, I saw a passionate coach who hit a kid. The passion has to be channeled, and it can't be about Singletary.
Right.
He had his days there. He had his days overseas. It has to be about helping these young men realize whatever their best is. For one of his basketball players, it could be for a manager. Managing that team might help that student to become the best organized person they can be, to be an accountant or a doctor or a garbage collector or whatever. But he's got to mesh all those personalities and build them into the best they can be, whatever that is.
And there's a consistency among all of them with that competitiveness.
All the coaches we've had?
Yes. Yeah. That they are, at the end of the day, they're very competitive, but they're competitive in the right way. Like you mentioned, once the whistle blows, game is over, you're going to talk, break down the game. But 2 days later, you're going to break bread or go on that Zoom meeting with those guys or talk and move on and do it the right way. Look, every single time these coaches, men and women, come on, I'm taking notes. I'm getting excited about the answers they have and how they rattle off their principles or what they're doing at the end of the season with the kids. I love his answer. We're gonna, we want to cry either way. Whether we're hanging up that the banner or we lost because we gave that much work, we competed that hard, and we cared about each other. And now it's over. Toughness, intelligence, and attitude was his principle. I mean, he was a great guest, and like you said, when he coached with you, gosh, almost 14, 15 years ago, a long time ago.
He's been here 13, so before that, yeah.
Unbelievable guy. Every time I see him now, whether he's coming down there to a game or we see him somewhere, he just, he cares, he listens. Yep. Just one of the nicest dudes there is. So good luck to Eric, man.
One thing I think of, so for those of you who are listening, wherever you are throughout the country or the world, I don't think the Sidwell Friends School is a school that's Greek to many people. Many of our Congress people and our presidents, if they have school-age kids, they go to Sidwell. Sidwell is not known as the athletics juggernaut. I'm not going to say they're the bottom of the barrel at all, but they're not, when you think of D.C., you're thinking St. John's, DeMatha, Gonzaga. I mean, those are the biggies, or you're thinking Mackin back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. You're thinking those schools, but I love the fact that it's the word of mouth recruits that he gets. For my business, I'm into sales, and nothing will ever beat the word of mouth advertising. If you go tell someone, hey, call this guy because he's a great painter or roofer, that's the best it gets. And, to have alum, and he is an alum, of course, that word of mouth recruiting where he might not be able to go down the traditional avenues because a parent who has stars in their eyes for their child's lacrosse career or baseball or basketball career, if they're thinking lacrosse, they're thinking, I don't know anybody else besides you guys. Who else are the powerhouses? Or what are the lacrosse schools in this area?
St. John's is great. Georgetown Prep, Landon, Bullis.
Right. So they're thinking those schools. Yeah. They're not thinking the Berry School. Or they're not thinking Sidwell. And for basketball, we know you have your share of hardware and bling, right? And Mike has his share. They're not thinking of Sidwell for basketball. So I think they are now. I think when he got there, that wasn't the case. But Eric has done an unbelievable job. 4 MAC championships, DC States. Oh, we didn't get back to Frenchie. It was Frenchie, by the way. And that was Frenchie. It was the young man we were talking about. Played with Jared with Maplewood football, and but he has put Sidwell in that map. They're there. They're a school that kids are really considering. So you're telling me they're viable in that conversation? Oh, now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not for what he's done down there. That's an option for a lot of kids. It's not just those guys you hear normally in our conference in the WCAC. And I think that's what's been the blessing about the DMV period. There are 3 conferences in the private sector that give kids unbelievable opportunity. Talk about them. It's WCAC, the MAC, and the IAC. And any night, top of the halves of those leagues will battle it out, and it could go either way. Absolutely. So here's my thing. If I know you, you're okay with the fact that it's not just the WCAC. You want the competition. You know, a rising tide raises all boats, right?
It's the same thing in lacrosse too. You could go WCAC, you go IAC, you go up to Baltimore. I mean, there's
you said Landon,
so much
Bullis, right?
Talent. Yes, St. Stephen's, DeMatha, good counts. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it's just, it goes back to this area. Mm-hmm. Any sport.
Well, it's
literally any sport.
It's the area, but you have to have people like Coach Singletary who curate that talent, right? Or Coach Turner who curates the talent.
I think that's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. I think we hear so much about how great the leagues and the competition and the level of play is from the players.
But it doesn't just
But let me tell you, the guys that I coach against night in, night out, just in our own conference, I'm not even talking about the other leagues that have unbelievable coaches as well. That's how I feel like I've gotten better, is because of the challenges that I have to go against night in and night out from top to bottom in our league. We have the best coaching in the DMV.
You walked right into my next point. And in going against those guys, it's their preparedness, right?
Or iron sharpens iron.
There you go. So they know they're going up against the WCAC team, and they prepare in their off seasons for the Gonzaga Classic. You know, Alhambra, wherever they're going, you know, the tournaments, obviously, you're in them every year, you're in them every year. And that preparedness is what it sounds like he has. He meets with his team. Then he has his small pods.
Subgroups, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just, and what is that doing, though? It's speaking right to what you're talking about. It's allowing those other coaches to have the time with those kids to build them, because his coaching tree, which is off your coaching tree, is going to build, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we get the MAC. You're talking IAC. You're talking about the Potomac School and those schools. Is that IAC?
Yes.
Yeah, schools that 10 years ago we're not hearing about in basketball, right?
Look at Luke Garza. Is that his name? Luke Garza up at Iowa?
Luka Garza was at Murray.
Is that Murray?
Who Eric battles against, you know, year in and year out. And you can go on Bullis and St. Stephen, St. Agnes and Flint Hill.
I think Potomac School has had a guy or two, right?
Potomac School, Levi Franklin. He used to be the coach at Paul VI,
right?
And now he's the head coach there. And I mean, I'll tell you, pound for pound, he's one of the best coaches that have been in the DMV. And he's done it in the WCAC. He's done it now in the MAC. He did it in PG County Public Schools prior to that.
I called one of his games before. The Potomac School.
So
yeah,
I mean, it just goes to show, like,
there's
so many really good coaches.
This is making me miss high school basketball.
Oh man, sorry guys.
Man, we better wrap this up.
All right. We thank Coach Singletary and the fine Quakers down there at the Sidwell Friends School. When things, I got to watch my schedule because I keep saying when things return to normal. I'm making a lot of promises.
Some of these guys are getting ready to start playing.
Right. I'm gonna have to check them out.
Podcast.
He's off your coaching tree. I'm gonna have to check him out. We are coming right back with our weekly sports wrap up. DJ Krissy, let's take it to break.
Since 1939, the Collins family has served families of Montgomery County and Greater Washington with dignified professional service in their time of need. We continue the same family tradition today at our funeral home located just off the Beltway in Silver Spring, Maryland. Our family of experienced funeral directors stand ready to assist you around the clock, 365 days a year. Whether you wish to pre-plan or you have experienced a loss, please contact us to discuss how we can assist you at your time of need. Call 301-593-9500 or visit collinsfuneralhome.com.
Take it to you with Turner and O'Neill. Would like to thank our friends of the program: Shane Benson, Todd Bradley, Paula Cross, Susan and Brendan O'Neill Sr., Daniel Richard, Noah Richard, Andrea Terrones. If you would like to become a friend of the program, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend.
The Tamara Cusick Team. Ready, set, sold. Real estate is more than just houses. It's about people, too. The Tamara Cusick Team offers an all-inclusive approach, making the home buying and selling process efficient, financially smart, and stress-free for you. From home prep-up to complimentary staging, expert counsel to an experienced and qualified team of professionals, let's chat houses. The Tamara Cusick Team isn't just a partner. They literally sold us the home where the Take It To You broadcasts from each week. Visit www.tamara4homes, that's the number 4.com, or call 301 780-4663.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill. Ain't no way! No, sir, Coach O'Neill. Nope. I will mute your microphone. I will stop this podcast.
I'm done.
No. You guys need to be here during commercials, which y'all need to do, because Coach O'Neill, no.
I just put it in an extra mint just to cool things off.
Okay, all right. Welcome back to Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill. This week's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Now let's move into our weekly sports wrap-up. Let's start with the NFL playoffs. I believe we've seen the last of Drew Brees as the Saints fell to the Bucs yesterday. He already has a contract with NBC whenever he's ready. Gentlemen, how do we sum up his career? Coach O'Neill.
I think Drew Brees get a little love for the underdog. Not the tallest guy, not the fastest guy. I think he prepared. I think he cared a lot. I think his teammates rallied around him. Now, let's not forget, he started with what was the San Diego Chargers.
In college or high school, I think.
But that was back when Eli Manning gave them the Heisman, right?
Yep.
And said, I'm not going there. And we're not going to talk about that. And in comes Drew Brees. Worked his way, worked hard. And it was one of the best, as they said last night, free agent signings he ends up with in New Orleans. I think he'll most be remembered for that Super Bowl, the who dat after Katrina.
Yes.
An area, a region just
depressed by,
completely, utterly devastated by a natural hurricane and whatever you want to call it. And I think he'll be remembered for that. Now, clearly, I think Drew has said some things over the years that, ruffled people. And I think he went maybe a little too long in his career, maybe 2 years. But I think he had that right to do it. There's certain, you can go NBA, NFL, hockey, baseball, where players he's had a great career. I mean, what is he? Until Tom throws a touchdown this weekend, he's the number one, right? All time.
He's got like 100,000 yards passing or whatever. He's like head and shoulders.
At the end of it, I think he's a good person. I think he's a good family man. I don't know him personally, but he'll be remembered for that Super Bowl and after Katrina, what he did for that area.
How do you sum it up, Coach Turner? His career.
Casey definitely hit it for what he's going to be remembered for. But what I loved about him is just his competitive edge, his willingness to compete, his willingness to put himself on the line to lead his teams. Never afraid of the moment. Always could make a game exciting. I'm gonna miss him. My son Jared's been a Saints fan.
Yeah, that's right.
And I probably just because of that kept my eyes on them a lot more.
Right.
But I just have the utmost respect for him as a human being, as an athlete, and will be sorely missed. I'm glad that he sounds like he's going to be still in the game,
right,
to a certain degree.
I think he'd be great.
And
he'd be better than
and I think he'd be better than most
90% of those guys. Although, talking about that, I think Tony Romo's pretty good at it. I'm done with Troy Aikman, by the way. We're talking the TV commentary. Yep. Troy is not good. He's not.
It's that cowboy.
I can't stand Romo because he was a cowboy, so I can't even hear him.
No, but at least I think Romo's the guy.
I think Drew will be a good one. So
he'll be great.
He'll be great.
Drew, thank you for the time.
The Bills make me want to shout. The Bills handled the Ravens over the weekend and will now face the Chiefs in the AFC title game with a chance to earn their way to Super Bowl 55. I will say this. I'm going to go on record and take a stand. It has nothing to do with the Bills as much as I'm just not as impressed with the Chiefs this year as I was last year. And they squeaked out some wins this year.
They have some holes in them.
Right. So I'm not people were saying you want the Bills to play Cleveland or you want them to play. I think the Bills are firing like hell right now on all cylinders.
Here's where they absolutely are, and I think they've gained a couple 100,000 more followers,
right,
for what they did after the game. The Bills Mafia, the Bills fans.
You want to talk about it?
I do.
Krissy doesn't know.
So
you know.
For the folks who don't know or didn't follow the game, the Ravens. The game didn't play out the way I thought it would. It wasn't as entertaining. As a Bills fan, you take it. You're moving on to the AFC Championship.
Right.
But somewhere in the second half, Lamar Jackson, the phenom quarterback for the Ravens, got a concussion. Pretty bad one.
Right.
Head hit, I think he was tackled, hit the turf.
Hit the turf in the back.
He had to be carried out of there. So after the game, good, strong, kind, upstate New York folks from the Bills fans found out.
I got to correct you for a second. I got to correct you. Paul and I are tired of everyone saying upstate New York.
Okay, Western
Buffalo
New York.
is Western New York. Upstate is Rochester and all that.
Okay,
it's
Western
New York.
good people of Western New
All
York.
right.
The Bills Mafia found out what Lamar's charity is, his favorite charity, and they've raised, all the fans started donating. They had thousands and thousands of people going in.
Yep.
They've raised over close to $200,000 for his charity.
Yep.
How cool is that?
Kudos to
And why
them.
isn't that story the number one story as opposed to giving people airtime on BS that happened 2 weeks ago? I think that they gained a huge fan in me, and I think the rest of the country saw that. And I think the Ravens fans are going to root for the Bills. You want to root for the team that knocked you out.
Definitely.
As of 24 hours ago, over 5,000 fans had donated more than $150,000 to his, according to the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. That's what I'm looking at. Bills fans are donating to Lamar Jackson's favorite charity. That's what I got right here.
How cool.
That was 24 hours ago. So
We
they
need
gotta
more
be-
of that. That's what we need. Now, I know that's not the X's and O's, but the Bills, look, they can sure as heck go into Kansas City, and especially if Patrick's not playing.
KC got some issues.
Right?
Mahomes got a concussion also.
Right?
Right.
Will he be fully ready?
He didn't look good.
Now I believe he'll find a way to be on the field, but will he really be ready?
Okay.
And that's a big question. And if he's not, hey, you know me. Give me somebody new. I always like a new.
That's your theme through the season.
I like a newbie. Give me a newbie. And the Bills, I'm rooting for them. For one of my former assistants, Austin Kelly. He's a Buffalo fan. They played the theme song at his wedding.
Right.
And so I'm pulling for him right now. So let's go Bills.
All right. That 102-yard pick six.
Yeah.
That was a dagger, as they say in the business.
That was a dagger. We got a big one. Brady versus Rodgers next Sunday. Who you got? I'm going Rodgers.
I'm cheesehead all the way.
All right. Cheesehead here, cheesehead there.
Now, that's who you think's going to win, or who you're rooting for?
That is who I want.
Both and both.
And both.
Both, yeah.
Both and both and both.
Both and both. Now, we'll say this, though. If Brady figures this thing out and gets back to another championship and wins it.
In his own stadium.
In NFL, he is the GOAT. There will never be anybody to ever pass him, period.
Because he's been in 14 championship games?
I think
it's unbelievable.
Proven that. He's back in another
I mean, he's there already.
conference
But if he
championship
does it,
game.
There'll be no
with the Tampa
asterisk,
Bay
no anything.
Buccaneers.
well, because I still feel there's something that's not being talked about.
Talk. What is that? Do you know what it is, or it's just something?
Just in my gut.
Okay.
The breakup.
Oh, okay.
It was too quiet. The why.
So there was a why that we're missing.
There's a why that we're missing. And I think if he goes and wins it, is when we'll get the answer revealed. If it doesn't happen, I don't think we'll ever hear.
Is the why maybe his ego? He just not listen, not ego in a bad way. Does he want to prove to himself that I got to get out of the wing of Belichick and I can do this on my own? It was really me the whole time.
It's possible. I don't really know what it is, but I still think there's more to that story that we haven't gotten.
Okay, maybe he wants to be in the sun and fun of Tampa.
So you got a little theory, a little inside job.
Mm-hmm. I do.
But he's also 43 years old. And to do that, get another championship. And Aaron Rodgers.
He doesn't have a championship.
But he's in the game. He's
Right,
in
okay.
another
In the game,
conference.
okay.
Now, it's not AFC. Obviously, it's an NFC championship game.
His first ever.
NFC championship
Right,
game.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Correct.
So he's doing it on both sides. He will be, all right, here's a trivia question that
He wasn't all that accurate last night either. I think he just threw.
Well, he didn't
for
play
just
last
under
night. Was it
200.
last night or the night before?
It was last
Last
night.
night? Okay, I'm
last
sorry.
night.
Yeah.
Last night.
All right.
This will be aired on Thursday, folks. So Sunday night. He played Sunday night. I got a weird feeling about this game. Now, granted, I would love to see Green Bay. I mean, how cool would it be to see a Green Bay, Buffalo,
Man, just throw the snow out there, baby. Let's
Super
go.
Bowl game.
For real.
And play it in the snow.
Played somewhere in the
We
middle.
don't need to go anywhere
to
hot.
upstate Michigan or something. You know what I
Find
mean?
somewhere where the snow is falling.
I have an impromptu trivia question.
But I got a weird feeling about the Bucs going up there. It's just I got a weird feeling.
Tom Brady will be only the fourth quarterback of the Super Bowl era to start in an AFC and NFC championship game. I'm going to give you a couple because you're not getting this one. Craig Morton is one of them. Name me the other two. Both of them played in your lifetimes. So to start an AFC and NFC championship game. Craig Morton is one of them. There are two more, both in your lifetime.
Joe Montana?
Krissy, any guess, Krissy?
Joe Montana?
No, I do not.
Joe Montana is one of them, yes.
Niners, and he took the Chiefs. They lost that AFC championship
You'll
game.
never guess the next one.
But he was in our era?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, but you won't guess it. You will not guess him. Oh, if you get it.
Hold on.
Are you looking at the reflection in my glasses?
No.
All right. Younger than Montana or older?
I cannot say. In my opinion, I think he's probably younger.
Randall?
No.
Okay.
That was a good. That's
You're thinking Minnesota, Philly. Good one.
Yeah, but
Because you got to think of teams.
But they're both in the NFC.
Yeah, and that's why I wasn't sure.
Give us some type of hint.
I'm trying to work quickly here. You know him well. You both know him well.
Wow.
Terry, no.
You both know him well.
We do?
Yep.
Brad Johnson?
No. Good guess though. You're
Because
now
Washington never got. So am I starting to get in that?
you're starting to tunnel it in. You're starting to channel it in here.
Give me one of the teams.
The Raiders.
Oh,
I messed up. I shouldn't have given. That was too easy. Too easy.
I still don't have it.
I should have gone the other way.
Gannon.
No.
Rich Gannon.
Jay Schrader.
Wow.
Skins and
Damn
Raiders.
it. Didn't know that. So
Skins.
I felt like he did start, but didn't they take Williams out for it?
I don't know, but
They
that's,
started the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Started. Yeah.
All right.
So Jay Schrader, Craig Morton, and Joe Montana are the first three.
Good trivia
It's funny
there.
that Washington teams are always in the middle of somebody's trivia.
Right? They're in the trivia, but can we get some hardware to go with that trivia?
How about the two former Washington coaches that are coaching up there in this weekend? The Rams and Green Bay, McVay and
Right.
who's the guy for?
Not McDermott.
I just drew a blank. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
The Green Bay coach. He was.
There's a lot of successful former Skins coaches out there. They were on that tree somewhere. Our boy in San Francisco, right?
Matt LaFleur.
San Francisco too, right?
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's go NBA. Can we even make sense? Do we need a segment all to this? Can we even
I'm
make
just going to
sense
sit back and let you two talk about this one.
of Kyrie, Brooklyn, and now Mr. Harden comes to town? How is that going to work? And what do you see? Oh, jump in.
My only comment, because I'm serious. I'm going to sit back and watch you two talk about this because of the text we've gotten over this. I will say, is there enough time for those three to become somewhat cohesive? Because this season is short. He's just coming in. And I think when push comes to shove, they're talented enough to win a lot of games. But when it comes down to that defensive side of the ball in the Eastern Conference Finals or even the quarters, I don't know if they have enough time to be cohesive. I don't. That's my prediction.
I think that's what is going to make it tough.
Mm-hmm.
The key to this all is KD.
Okay.
Because he's already been in this situation.
Absolutely. Out west with the Warriors.
His ability to be such an efficient scorer won't hurt him as a player.
His ego isn't huge.
He doesn't display it, but all these
right.
At that level, you got to have an ego.
Right. You can't not.
But Steve Nash, you asked for this job, brother. Let's see how you can work your magic. There's a couple coaches I know who could make this work.
He's got D'Antoni under him too, right?
Yeah, I mean, common goal, man. Get the championship.
So my thought is, you say how they're going to make it all mesh. I don't think we should sleep or turn a blind eye to Nash is in his first year as a coach too, so he has to figure out how to manage these pieces.
Right.
So it's not like we're talking Phil Jackson or Mike Brown, or we're not talking about a Spoelstra who knows how to manage egos and has been there and done that.
If Harden can do what he did in that first game,
triple double.
Well, but not even so much the triple double pieces. The piece for me it was 14 assists.
Right, he got them involved.
Without
Kyrie,
he got other guys involved, and if he can do that and turn it on when he has to offensively for them, I think that is going to be a crucial piece to the puzzle. And grown ass men, they got to check some of that ego at the door. If they really want to go and get a ring or give themselves the best chance, you have to check some egos at the door.
Do you think it makes a huge, and I'm just throwing it out there, just crossed in my brain, and sometimes I have good thoughts and bad thoughts or ideas, but without the crowds, without going into, the Lakers arena or somewhere where there's all that hype and there's the fans and the people and the cameras and everything going on, and you're just kind of playing in empty gymnasiums, that this affects the way so when you're talking those egos and the top guys, that it kind of brings it down to a different level. Because you saw that I feel like you saw that in the bubble. You just saw people competing, having fun, and doing it like they're in their old rec gyms or AAU hoops. Does that make any difference? To me, it has to.
I don't know.
I think the home court advantage is not there as much anymore. The referees can do more.
Starting five, right? We joke around with LeBron, and
I think he's speaking into the hype of the game. Does that make? Correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying, like, does that make those guys want to be the guy even more because of the
when
fans?
There's more people around and there's the camera in the limelight, and it's
So can they tone down that ego?
You are
thing?
announcing, at 6'8" from Ohio, blah, blah, and there's
Andrew
all the
Wiggins,
limelight, and it would just the energy is totally different, and so when you have these superstars going in and playing in front of nobody, does that change the kind of the?
I think these guys are these are the best of the best. And
I know that.
I know what you're saying. I hear you, but I just believe that this is what they do for a living. The fans, yes, they can affect the game on a home or a road trip, but I don't think that's ever going to take away the edge or that ego edge that these guys have playing the game.
I think it affected baseball. I know it did a little bit with hockey.
That's a much more expansive arena, though, baseball.
Sure. You know what I heard the other day?
What's that?
Former national first baseman was quoted as saying, when I knew this was weird times is when I was at the plate at Baltimore, right? Camden Yards, Nats. Right. He quoted, and he goes, I'm at the plate, and it's so quiet. There's no fans. There's nothing. That he heard a toilet flush in the locker room as he's getting ready to hit a pitch, and he said, what is going on in this world that I can hear a toilet flush down the hall even in the locker room?
A quiet crowd is still a level of noise,
something.
right?
There's noise, and he's like, what are we doing? But anyway,
I know
back to that point.
I'll go back to them again. I just want to see it work because I think I like what I can see as a final is a finals right now.
Eastern Conference Finals or NBA
I'm
Finals?
talking NBA Finals. I'm talking about them getting all the way them in the Lakers.
Lakers number one in the league
let's
go.
Let's go.
Best record in the league right now.
I've seen best records go down.
Whatever. 17 titles. 17 titles.
Your title is only for the year you got it in.
17 titles.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
What can we make of the increased postponements of NBA games due to COVID? Should we suspend play, go into a bubble, now my kids and I talked about regional bubbles like hockey is doing. This is getting out of hand. It was one game here, one game there. Then it's 3 games over a weekend. Now I can't even field a fantasy team because I don't know who's playing from one night to the next. And I'm trying to get some fantasy wins.
They have to.
But everyone's down, so
No, I think you got to find a way to get to some type of a bubble.
I think regional bubbles. And we did it, put Orlando, Miami, even if it's across, I think you got to go to some regional bubbles. I'm picking Seattle. No one's using their arena. Seattle, not Vegas, Colorado, Texas, and then
I don't think they're going to agree to it. I don't think the players and the players union.
I think the problem is it's how do you shut these dudes down, man?
Right.
Like, they're going to do what they do.
They're going to family parties. They're doing this, that, and the other, and they don't want that to be taken away. But, when Kyrie makes a bad decision, he gets 2, 3, 4 games worth of salary getting taken away, and you say, well, that's Kyrie. Let him lose his own money. But if we want to have that's fine. Then let's not have a season. Then I think the price to pay for that, if they don't want to go into these mini bubbles, is you lose your paycheck. Because we can't continue to fund a league where we can't play because the Sixers and Knicks have 12 players between them that can play.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, I'm stingy as a fan. I want to see the action. And like I said the other day, do I get to pay less for my NBA package now?
I was just thinking
I know
about
it's not Comcast or Amazon Prime's fault. No, I haven't gone down that road yet. One game here, one game there, I don't mind. And I shouldn't care. It hasn't affected the Lakers yet. None of our games, but it's going to get there. And there's NBA ball that's not being played because I don't know. Well, I'll make up a name because Joe Schmo can't not go to the nightclub that night. You know, that's where I have a problem. Anyway, teams like the Wizards, T-Wolves, and Rockets. Where do they go from here? What's their path?
I don't have the answer.
Do they have a path?
The Wizards are in some trouble. Russell's out for another
3-4
weeks.
T-Wolves, Rockets. Rockets is Silas the answer? I just don't want him to be overmatched, but
see, a lot of it gets thrown back on these coaches.
Right.
These guys are up there at that level because they can coach. They can coach the game of basketball.
Right, okay.
But if you don't have the same pieces and the same ammunition at that level as the next team, it is what it is.
Right.
Like,
so you and me can take that team. We can't make them a winner, huh? Or can't anybody?
you might not.
You gonna make them?
I'm gonna make them a winner.
Okay, all right. Wow, throwing shade over here. Well, I do coach on the women's side.
2021.
It has nothing to do with that. But don't throw me under the bus and not be able to get it done. Because I'm going to find a way to get it done.
All right.
I'm with Steve.
You going to find a way to get it done? All right, let's go to the NHL. They've dropped the puck on the NHL season. The NHL has realigned the division so that teams will play within regions to lessen travel in what I believe gives the sport the best overall opportunity to get through a season successfully. Predictions on that success. You were talking about teams and they're playing. It's not like Philly one night, New York the next night, and Ottawa the next night. Talk to us about that.
You've got the regions, the East, I think it's the South, the West, the great frozen tundra North, the Canadian teams. If you look at it, the Caps are going to play the Pittsburgh Penguins 12 times, and they're going to play these little mini series. They're going to play the Flyers 12 times, the Sabres, the Devils, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Bruins, and then that's it. That's 56 games. You're going to have the same with the West region, the same with the South and the North, and all those teams. So
I don't like it.
I love it.
I don't like it.
But here's the thing: you just control that.
No, I'll say this:
you go beat up on the Penguins, you go beat up on the Flyers, or win those games, and they're playing usually back-to-back days or every 2 or 3 days.
I mean, the
It's
rivalry.
But they came up with a good solution.
No, I think they came up with a great solution. I'm not gonna knock that,
right?
Because I thought they were really innovative with what they did last year.
Sure.
To get through, but. Just miss, I like to see them all.
Yeah, you like to see like Chicago Blackhawks come to town, or see the LA Kings, or see them on the West Coast.
Well, here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see those guys get bored
or hurt. Because they're going to fight a lot more.
Well,
they're going to be pissed off
and then
playing the Rangers.
And then maybe now you start
times.
having the NBA. He's taking off tonight just because been on ice too much.
Right.
Like I don't want to
think they're going to get.
I hope not. But that's my fear.
No, I think they're fired up for it.
Where it's like, you know what? Enough of this. I'm tired of playing him. Let me take a night off tonight.
So hockey gets those 56 games in, and then they would go to their certain regions for the playoffs before you. So I mean, and the hard part is you're not going to really get to see live any of those teams. So the teams we're used to, like the Tampa Bay Lightning, who is probably the most talented and reigning Stanley Cup champs from their bubble, they're not going to get to see those teams until playoffs. Right. They're not going to get to see
65
the Vegas Golden Knights and some of the most talented teams.
Are less
it is what it is.
Are less teams going to make the playoffs? I haven't really looked at the whole NHL.
I can't.
Breakdown and how it's going to be played out.
I think it's about the same and about what it normally is, but it's 56 games, so they absolutely count, and you control the destiny and you go with it. You just got to get out of that group.
I got to go read up.
So we're looking at Tampa.
Oh, I think Tampa's loaded. I think it's theirs to lose. I think Washington can hang with them. I think the Flyers can hang with all of them. I think those are probably the top 3 teams in the East. Out West, I just hear good things about Vegas. Talk about a program that was or an organization.
Raiders just bought them up.
The Golden Knights.
And he just bought.
I hear good things about Colorado.
The Aces too. Yeah. Is that what you said? I'm sorry. Yes.
They say that the Avalanche and Vegas out in the West. Up in the great North there, couldn't tell you.
All right, that's our weekly.
They care. They care in Canada big time.
That's our weekly sports wrap up. Our esteemed engineer, DJ Krissy, will take us a break, and we'll be right back. Winsight Media. Winsight delivers connections and intelligence to 4 of the fastest growing verticals: convenience retailing, grocery businesses, restaurants, and non-commercial food service through broad and cutting-edge platforms. No company is better positioned to meet the food industry's needs than Winsight. Connect with us at www.winsightmedia.com. Building your brand is an important part of your business growth. By advertising with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, you'll gain the exposure and brand recognition behind our podcast. In Season 1, we reached a total of more than 100,000 listeners, viewers, subscribers, and website visitors combined. Your company will benefit from our popularity online and during the podcast. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill equals exposure on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and more than 15 listening platforms total. Inquire today and let's partner to build your brand.
Insurance Alliance Group manages the gap between damage appraisal estimates from your insurance company and what you are rightfully owed based on your policy. They work on behalf of policyholders with claim assistance and disputes to maximize claims. Insurance Alliance Group serves as professional advisors and trusted advocates. The Insurance Alliance Group handles business and home property loss. Request a free claim review with the property loss professionals. Insurance Alliance Group. Visit us at insurancealliancegroup.com or call 866-574-4773. This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray P. Cruz, Mortgages Intelligently. Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. We are back, and now it's time for our final words, some thanks, and of course, our weekly quote, which this week belongs to me. Become a friend or partner of the program. To do so, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click partnerships, or become a friend, I believe, actually. Become, if you want to be an advertiser, we want to build your brand. To do so, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click partnerships. We want to join you, and we want you to join us on our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, Twitter at Turn On Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. So follow, like, add, and spread the word. You guys have done a tremendous job of liking us on Facebook. We've seen an uptick in those numbers. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Stitcher, Pod Notes. We're on everything. If you go out there and type in, what, Coach O'Neill? What? Just go ahead. What?
Pod Notes?
iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Can I get it? Give it to me.
Steve.
Your turn. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
No, I want to hear what's the iHeartRadio jingle.
Go ahead, Steve. iHeartRadio.
So we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, we're not on Pandora. Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podcast Pocket Casts, Deezer, Listen Notes, Player FM, Podcast Index, Overcast, Castro, Castbox, and Podfriend.
We're doing all right.
Woo! Those are all the places you can find us. So if you say you couldn't find us, I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to think you're telling me a fib. That's what I'm going to think. So join us on social media. Listen to us whatever you do. Feel free to email your show questions, content ideas, comments, and critiques. We may not get to all submissions, but we do want to hear from you at turneroneillpodcast@gmail.com. From time to time, we do read listener and viewer questions on the air. So join the conversation. Become part of the team as we are a growing community here at Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Before we sign off, we must thank our engineer, DJ Krissy, you two gentlemen, Coach Turner and O'Neill, as well as Paula. Thanks to our donors, sponsors, and partners. Ray Cruz, we thank you, and we encourage our audience to support those who support us. Gentlemen, any final thoughts? Coach Turner.
Just be safe this week. They're still talking about different things that could go on. I just want everyone to keep your head on the swivel. Pay attention to your surroundings. Don't go to places you don't need to go to. And let's all just commit to being involved in this change that we want to happen in the world. That's it for me.
Coach Casey O'Neill.
Amen to that, Coach Turner. I'll tell you what does not get old. It does not get old talking to awesome people. Now, I know we joke around a lot. You guys are awesome people. But the guest today, he was awesome. The guests we've had are wonderful people. And I know we're excited to be here each week, see each other, talk sports, talk life, just catch up. But the guests we've had are great. And if people go back and hear the answers that they have to the great questions and the script you've built and the questions we come up with, you're going to find some incredible just knowledge for life, love, happiness. Eric was great today. It doesn't get old talking to awesome people.
I agree. And thank you, gentlemen, for being here each week. Thank you for making me a part of the village that is Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill. Today is my weekly quote. I have a couple. And today means so much to me. I'll never forget being a DJ. I don't know if I was a DJ at that point, but being in the basement of my grandparents' home, right down there by Turkey Thicket, where I first fell in love with basketball, where I saw Tree. You remember Tree from Coolidge?
Tree.
Climb up the light post and cut the light on when it got too dark out. And that's when I fell in love with basketball. I knew I wasn't going to be a player, but I got to sit there on the sidelines and watch those cats play.
Tackled him before.
Did you really? He was about all of 6'9", 6'10".
Oh, he tried to dunk on me at Blair. I had to take him to the wall. True story.
But, back from those days, I remember when I believe it was Carter or Reagan, I don't know, who signed into legislation the Dr. King Day. And I remember Stevie Wonder being there, Coretta Scott King being there, and that was one of the biggest moments for me in history. And I listened to Stevie Wonder's song, Happy Birthday, and that was awesome to me. This holiday has always meant so much to me. So I'm going to go to Dr. King. It's way too easy to do it, but I'm going to do it. And there are two quotes of his that I've used on my Facebook page throughout time. The first is, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. My next one is, I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was born January 15th, 1929. He died April 4th. Shots rang out from a Memphis sky, 1968. Krissy, please pull the plug.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our advertisers. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy. All material is the exclusive property of the podcast and may not be copied, rebroadcast, or used in any way without the written consent of the podcast. The views, ideas, and commentary of podcast guests are solely their own and not necessarily endorsed by the podcast. You may submit questions, podcast ideas, and commentary to turneroneillpodcast@gmail.com. No compensation is offered for submitted material. Should we choose to use your idea, comment, or question, you agree to your likeness, social media identity, and/or information being used on the podcast. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is recorded weekly and distributed via Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more than 15 podcast platforms in total. You can also view Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill weekly on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episode drops. Some portions of the podcast may be pre-recorded. Join us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and subscribe. Our website is www.turnerando'neill.com. Advertising opportunities are available.